Hi, I am Jessica. I have a small business called Jessica's Cozy Creations where I make plushies and I sell them, I used to say mostly at markets, but to be honest, it's mostly at the mall. If you're new, hi, and if you're returning, thank you for coming back. I know I've been gone for a while, but I do have an explanation. I guess first I should say the reason that I'm facing this way instead of the other way is because I have light that actually comes out of this window now, so I just wanted to face the light. My yarn wall is now over there. I wanted to do that so I could actually get some sunlight in this room because there was no sunlight in this room before. And then now I can also take pictures in front of my yarn wall, even though it looks like a mess a big chunk of the time. I just clean it up a little bit for pictures, but I try not to worry about it too much because yeah, I think I overthink things way too much and then it just takes forever for me to actually get anything done. So I just need to not think about it and take some pictures. So yeah, you get to see how messy my desk usually looks. That is honestly what it normally looks like. I do have a list here of things that I wanted to talk about just to like update you guys on how things have been. I have actually been pretty decent. But the reason I haven't been making videos is because I do videos on my phone and I would take up a bunch of space on my phone to make a video and then I would go to edit it and I wouldn't be able to edit it because there wasn't enough space on my phone. So then what I would do is I would go and delete a bunch of stuff on my phone that I need. And it turned into this cycle of every single time I did anything on my phone, I would get anxiety. I would get anxiety if I needed to download a new app. I would get anxiety every time I went to make a video. I actually made a video for Valentine's Day and was in the middle of editing it when, again, I ran out of space on my phone and I was like, I just can't deal with this anymore. And I've wanted a second phone for a while, which is what I'm filming on now. And I know that, like, I could get a camera or whatever, but I'm just so bad with technology that it just is so much easier for me to be able to film on the same device that I edit on and then have everything be on that device. Otherwise I get anxiety about it. As you can probably tell, I have really bad anxiety and it just makes my life so much easier when I don't have to stress about those things and I can just enjoy making content without having to delete important things off of my phone. But now I am really excited to have a phone that is separate, like that I can keep my business separate from my personal life, because also I was taking photos on my old phone and I would have to, like, if I wanted to find personal photos, have to scroll past all these business photos to get to personal photos, and then vice versa, scroll past personal photos to get to business photos. And I'm just hoping that this makes my life so much easier. And I know that I haven't been the most consistent with uploading things, but I'm hoping that this will help. I did kind of get the phone when I didn't really have the money to get the phone, but I have the Strawberry Festival coming up and I enjoyed filming that last year and I want to be able to make another Strawberry Festival video again this year and then hopefully get better at filming, but I feel like I can never get better at it because I'm always like on and off with it because it's just always this thing that stresses me out so much, like just waiting for my phone to run out of space every single time. And then this will also allow me to be able to make multiple videos at once. So I can work on something for a week and then also make a video in a day, and that will be great to be able to do. It's kind of crazy to think about, but the last place that I left off was I was going to be doing Oktoberfest. Somebody please explain to me why I kept saying Oktoberfest. I in fact did not do Oktoberfest. It was the Sauerkraut Festival. I guess because it was in October that I had October on the mind, but it wasn't Oktoberfest. And I did film that. I filmed the first day of that, but then the second day I ran out of space on my phone. And at that point, I kind of just had enough with constantly running out of space on my phone. I didn't want to have to delete a bunch of things, so I just didn't film the second day. And then I figured, well, I'll just talk about the second day, but then editing takes up space on my phone as well. So no matter what, I was going to have to delete things off of my phone, and I just didn't want to have to deal with it. But either way, Oktoberfest was very, very interesting. So it started out with, I had insurance, but I had the insurance listed for the mall. And I guess I didn't realize, because Strawberry Festival never said anything about it. When I did Strawberry Festival, I used the same insurance, but apparently I have to call them and I have to let them know that I'll be switching locations so they can switch the name on the insurance. I don't know. I'm not the smartest person, so I don't know how all that works. I just know that I have to call them ahead of time, let them know that I'm doing a different event. I didn't do that, and the mall was listed on the insurance, and we showed up the day of, and we're thinking that they were going to send us away for it, but they never did. But that was extremely stressful because I thought that this big event that I had planned for like months wasn't going to work out for me. But I did end up being able to stay, but it was not what I had expected. I had expected it to be like the Strawberry Festival, and it was very busy. Like, the main strip of it was very busy, but we were off on a little like side road, and that definitely didn't get as much traffic. And then I have a vendor friend that was like way up the way, but she was on the main strip, and I went and I talked to her, and she said that like people just weren't buying as much as they usually did. So that event was not super successful for me. I don't remember exactly how much I made, but it was basically the equivalent to what I would have made at the mall. At the mall, I would say average is probably like 1,000, which is a fair amount, but this is my full-time job. And when I took time off for this event thinking that it was going to cover like costs for the whole month. But I usually go to the mall every 2 weeks, and then that's like the amount that I make every 2 weeks, minus what I pay the mall, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Anyways, it wasn't terrible. It just was not what I had expected. I won't be doing it again this year just because I didn't, well, I still have time to sign up for it, but the cost of it, right now, I just need consistency, and then maybe we can try that again next year. But I missed out on the early bird thing where I could get it for cheaper, and I would prefer to wait until next year when I can get it cheaper. So we'll probably do that next year. So to get to the mall, for those of you that don't know, I sell at Fairfield Commons Mall. How that got started was the first market that I ever did was there, and it was really successful. I made over $1,000 in a day, I think, because it was just a one-day thing. And I was under the impression that that's what every event, not every event was going to be like, but some were going to be like that. Nothing else was even remotely like that. I actually got scammed a couple of times, didn't really know what I was doing. I've learned more to do not get your events off Facebook. And in my opinion, that's not the smartest way to do it, because that's how I was doing it, and I got scammed a couple times. And even the events that were real events, just none of them were good. I wasn't really making any money. I was kind of breaking even type of thing. But then I started basically just listening to what people were saying to me about events that they knew of, looking them up, seeing what it was like in the past, how many people they had in the past. And that's the only way that I've found events to be successful for me. But then again, the only like real successful event that's gone really well for me has been the Strawberry Festival. So I called the mall, I guess, to make a really long story long, because it is a long story. There's been a lot of ups and downs at the mall. But so I contacted them, and I asked if there was a way that I could just set up there, and we worked something out. And it's a little bit weird because I have just a booth set up in the middle of the mall, but it works for me. It's been consistent income, and it's been like a year and a half, obviously on and off because of issues with the mall and new management, but it ended up good in the end because of the fact that they are under new management. It was around Christmas time that the new leasing manager came up to me. We had already signed some stuff for me to be there for a couple months, and we were sort of working out the kinks and everything like that. I didn't even know if I wanted to stay at this point because of all the ups and downs, and it took me a really long time to get in contact with anyone. I think they were like in the middle of switching management, and there was kind of nobody that was answering the phone, and it was an issue. But she came up to me around Christmas time, and she says, so I saw that you were paying $600. Yes, $600 per weekend last year around Christmas. And I was like, yeah, I was. I was not expecting to pay that much this year because we had agreed that I would pay $300 for every weekend, which is what it was usually, just not around Christmas. And she goes, oh no, I think that's terrible. I think that's really horrible. And I agree. I had to stop going around Christmas last year because I was making honestly the same amount. The mall was much busier, but I was making the same amount that I usually was. That mall is very consistent for me. I almost always make the same amount, ranging a couple $100s, but you know. And I couldn't keep up with paying $600 per weekend. It was insane. So she was like, no, I think that that's ridiculous. What I actually want to do is I want to talk to you about lowering the amount that you pay. And I was like, heck yeah, that's what I want to hear, because it still was hard for me to pay $300 per weekend. And then in the end, I'm often only coming out with like $900, but not including the cost of materials. So it was very expensive for me, but it was just more consistent than the events that I had done before, and I was also still making either equal to or a little bit more than working fast food, which is what I used to do before. So we ended up coming up with an agreement that I would pay $300 for the month instead of per weekend, which is a huge difference. It really like helps out so much to be able to not have to worry about every single weekend that we're there, that $300 immediately getting taken out of what I make. So now we pay $300 per month, and I usually go 2 weekends out of the month. I go every other weekend, and usually it works out that way, but she's very like lenient with me, and sometimes if we're not doing so hot money-wise, I will go back to back. Up to like 3 weekends a month, or I guess if it's a long month, maybe possibly 4 weekends. But yeah, that really helped out over the winter time because of all the storms that we had. I live in Ohio. All those storms that we had here in Ohio, I knew that was going to go off while I was filming. All right. All the storms that we had here in Ohio, it was very slow at the mall. So it was good to be able to go back to back to back. That's awesome. So that's where I'm at with the mall. Definitely have a much better relationship with the leasing manager. She's very sweet. We've talked about multiple things that we have in common. It's a cool gig now. So yeah, things have been pretty decent for me. It's just, I did not want to stress out anymore about having to film on my phone, and yeah. Some updates on some other things. I did finish a cat order. I'll get that really fast. All right, there was an author that reached out to me about doing some, I guess they're comparable to loaf cats. They're like little kittens, but they're not exactly like long like loaf cats. But I would call them loaf cats. But she reached out to me about the fact that she was doing a book about a spooky cat, and that she wanted to be able to hand out these cats with the books, and I thought that was a really cute idea. I usually don't do wholesale orders just because it's not as beneficial to me, but I did decide to do this one because she was super sweet and I really like the idea. So she wanted to get 50 loaf cats from me, or loaf kittens, or whatever. I just call them kittens. But she wanted them to have red eyes, and we worked together on all the details, and I think that they turned out pretty cute. And I made 50 of those. So I got that done a couple days ago, and that was just a cool little experience. Let's see what else. I made a little list. I don't know if I already said that. Oh, we have a cotton candy machine that's by us. It smells amazing. I love cotton candy. I don't like love sweets, but if I were like a sweets lover, I like cotton candy quite a bit. It smells really good. I will put a picture of it. It's really cute. But it's not the best tasting cotton candy, but it smells really good. So my booth always smells like cotton candy now. Let's see, another thing. Oh, I loved this. So a girl came up to me, I think a couple weekends ago that I was there at the mall, and she was like, oh, I bought a possum from you before. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And she pulls it out, and it's so like, it's so, I don't want to say like dirty, but the colors are definitely like faded. I'll put a picture of that here, but I thought that was really cute seeing her possum compared to a new one, her old one compared to a new one. She said that she got it from me at the mall. It must have been like when I first started going to the mall, because it looks pretty old. And she said that she carries around with her all the time. So I thought that that was like the cutest freaking thing. And then, oh, I am currently working on a website that should be up here in a couple of weeks. I was selling my stuff on Etsy, but I just really don't like selling my stuff on Etsy. So if you're interested, I will keep you guys updated on that. Don't ask me any advice. My husband's doing it all. Lord knows I wouldn't be able to do it. Oh, another thing that happened at the mall was a couple weeks ago, some lady it was a whole family that were hanging out. They were hanging out in front of the booth and talking about like potentially buying something, which is fine. There was a kid that was crying like nonstop, and they were in front of my booth for like a good, I don't know, 6-7 minutes or so. And it's not a big deal. I know that comes with the fact that I make things not specifically for children, but that children, young adults buy. But I mean, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It comes with the job, right? But the little girl that was crying ended up throwing something on the ground, and her mother smacked her. And I was like, no, I didn't really know how to handle the situation. I mean, really what I want to do is pull the kid away from the mom, but obviously that's not my place. But I was like, no, you guys can leave my booth. And it was just this, it was this whole thing. So I tell them a couple times that they need to leave, and then finally they do leave. And as they're walking away, one of the older kids, I assume, of that mother that slapped the kid comes back and she goes, it's discipline. It's called discipline. And I was like, no, that's abuse. Like, you don't smack a kid in the face. I'm not okay with that. So it was just this whole issue where then the mother wanted to come back and be like, I was going to buy something. And I was like, I honestly, at this point, I don't care. I'm not comfortable with you buying something. I want you to leave. So that was a whole situation, especially because they wanted to like come back and argue. It was fine at first until the daughter came back. And I just think that's really sad that the older daughter looked like a teenager, thinks that is normal parenting. I'm a parent too. I've been a parent for 10 years, and yeah, that's not discipline. That's not how you discipline a kid, by smacking them in the face. It doesn't make any sense to like, we teach our kids not to hit, but then you punish them by hitting them. It doesn't make any sense. But either way, I thought that was a whole interesting thing. I put it on the list because I was just like thinking of things that have happened at the mall, and that was definitely a thing that happened at the mall. That was very interesting. We've had a lot of people throwing ducks at us. I'm sure you guys have seen it in the like little teeny tiny ducks. They have new machines upstairs where you can like put in like a quarter and get a couple of those. And for whatever reason, kids just like to throw them down at us. So we've been collecting ducks. I meant to get those together for this video, but I don't even know where a lot of them are. My husband has a lot of them in his desk, I think. But we just collect the ducks, and we're like, well, I guess we can see how much of a duck collection we can come up with. Like a couple months ago, some kids started throwing coins at us, and one hit me, and I was like, oh my god, these kids are literally throwing coins from like above at us. And that was like the first time that had happened, and I thought it was so bizarre. But now it's just a regular occurrence with these ducks. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Whatever you gotta do to have fun, I guess, as long as none of them hit me in the head. It used to piss me off quite a bit, but at this point, it's like, I cannot waste my energy getting mad at all these ducks getting thrown at us, because, I mean, at this point, and it's not just at us. They're, like, spread out on the bottom floor, so they just throw them down, not just at us. But, yeah, it's a little bizarre. But, you know, I guess we'll just collect ducks, and we'll see how big our duck collection gets. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. Just wanted to say I'm back and I'm happy to be making videos again. Clearly there's been like things on my mind that I've wanted to make videos about, but it's just not worth stressing myself out over. But now hopefully this can just be like a fun, relaxing experience. I do have a couple video ideas planned. Obviously I have the Strawberry Festival coming up in a couple of weeks. Super excited for that. I want to make like a big variety of things, so I want to just make videos on things that I've made. I would like to make a video this weekend about me going to the mall because I have a lot of stuff that I want to show you guys, but I don't want to have to like pull it all out right now, so maybe it would just be easier at the mall when it's already out, gotten some nice sunlight. I snoozed it because that's my alarm to get my daughter, and I don't want to forget. So yeah, I've got to go here in a second, but yeah, there's just some video ideas that I have. I do want to make all the My Little Ponies, all like the main ones. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I made a Fluttershy and then it sold, and then yeah, I would like to have them all like together, so I'll probably make them and save them specifically for the Strawberry Festival. That way I can have them all lined up. I think that would be super cool. Anyways, I gotta get going. I am really happy to be making videos again. I am excited and I hope you guys are too. If you have stuck around, thank you. I really appreciate it. I know it's been like a lot of ups and downs with me, but I am good. It was nothing bad this time. It was just that I wanted to be able to have a separate phone to be able to film these videos. But anyways, like and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and I'll see you in the next one.